Okay, so hello and welcome back everyone. Today I'm Kevin from C, and what I have in front of me is a Sony A200. Yeah, so let me go focus in. Okay, this is the A200 that I bought for near nothing. Near nothing means something. Yeah, I mean I paid for shipping and not much else. So for this APS-C DSLR essentially, which is my first DSLR to be honest. Yeah, so it's quite new to me, this experience of using this focusing screen and stuff like that. And this I shall say is a piece of shit. So this is the highest res 1080p most clear to see essentially video I think on the internet about this Sony 200. This thing was made in 2008 I think, and sports 10.2 megapixels written on the body right there. So let me go tell you a story about how I got this thing. So first, I was searching for DSLR to essentially stuff into a Yashica, which did not go to plan because this thing's still here. Yeah. So I was aiming at like a Canon 1100D or something like that, but okay, now it's raining. Fuck. So some of you like rain sounds and stuff like that for like sleeping and stuff. If you do like rain sounds, then here you go, rain sounds. Hopefully they're not overpowering as fuck because my mouth hurts and I can't talk that a lot. So this thing I found for like very cheap. I'm not gonna disclose this because I have not sold this thing yet. I'm selling stuff, so yeah, obviously you do not want to sell. I mean, you do not want to say how much you got this thing for. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna sell this thing for more than I got it because I got it for quite cheap, at least for my standards. Yeah, quite cheap. So this came in. The seller described it as having an LCD that's going a bit too bright, which it is. It's like this, yeah, quite bright to be honest. And also it has some issues with the nothing else. The seller only said that it had like some bright screen stuff like that, and nothing else really, no box. But what actually came with is something like this. See this thing, it says A200 service. So I'm not sure if that means this thing's been serviced before, or if this thing is due to be serviced, or if something has happened to it, such as the guy set this thing for service and didn't pay for it, something like that. I'm not sure. But this thing came with this, the charger, with the cables and stuff, yeah, right here. This neck strap, which is already clean. I've scrubbed this thing with a brush, and it came out like yellow as fuck, man. So you probably understand how dirty this thing was. Yeah. These things were packaged in like a box that was so thin. He packaged it into like a box that was for sweets. So if you're from Indonesia, you probably know yupi, and those are like gummy treats. Yeah. So gummy treats are pretty light, and if you try to package a camera in a gummy treat box, the shipping will squish that box to hell. And that's exactly what happened here. So this thing was essentially in a box that was like crumpled in half, but I still survived somehow. So, but then when I opened the box, I found this thing in like a pair of training trousers essentially, yeah, like pants, and that's disgusting as fuck, man. Those pants were like torn in pieces. So now that thing is for my cat to sleep outside essentially. I'm not sure how it's gonna fare in the rain because it's not raining yet, but it was raining yesterday and the cat actually seemed to like it. So yeah, good thing. So let's go on to the DSLR. This has a Sony Minolta A mount, Konica Minolta Sony A mount, which is a what you call this thing? Screw drive AF system. Right here, got a screw, and you have a mirror right here, and you have the lens. So this thing, the lens actually works perfectly. Yeah. It only has some fungi which I have not bothered to clean, because zoom lenses are pretty hard to clean to be honest. Yeah. You have to like take apart a ton of elements and a ton of screws, and in the end it might or might not come back together, which is apparent in the Tamron 18 to 200mm that I took apart. That thing I could not put back together, and it's now in a parts bin. So I was not very thrilled about having something with fungi. And this thing also has a lot of fungi on the sensor, on the sides. So it's like the fungi covers 1/3 of the sensor, but only has like this fibrous thin fungi, so it does not show in the results, which is a good thing because I did not want to open this thing up. seeing that the LCD was like washed out, which means that a flexible cable might have been yanked at some point, and it's losing. I mean, it's lacking some screws. So as you can see, it doesn't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 screws. So it's lacking 5 screws. Any under here? No, yeah. Okay, so 5 screws from the body, and that means that this thing has been opened before, and opened by someone that's not very experienced or very organized, and this thing works properly. So aside from a few things, yeah, so I did not give a shit, and I did not want to open this thing up. This thing has a CCD sensor, which means that it's gonna give you quite awesome colors essentially, and not very good low light performance. It looks okay up to ISO 800, I think. 1600 it starts to like go to shit, and 3200 do not even think about using it. Yeah, so there you go. This, let me see. The flash is not working. The sensor has fungi. The lens has fungi. The guy said he's gonna give me a 32GB CF card, which is fucking cool, yeah. Cause CF cards are expensive as hell, but he only gave me a 4GB Transcend CF card. And I do not have a CF card either, so what I do is I use the cable to like plug in a PC and use it as USB. What else? All the buttons work. The scroll bit here works. The viewfinder is sort of moldy, like what you call this thing. It's got some fungi, but I don't give a shit because this thing is not very clear anyways, yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the condition. So as for the camera itself, let me talk more about it. So AF is also not working. You can switch it to AF. It'll try to focus, but it won't move. Someone in the Sony forums in Indonesia said that this thing was essentially quite a common problem in the day. Yeah? So you had to like get the AF motor replaced, and I'm not gonna replace the AF motor in this, because the AF motor probably cost more than I got the camera itself for. Yeah. So it's just a toy for me, not something I take seriously. Yeah. Cause already I've taken the Leica T, I have now Ricoh ZF, I have a which one thing, Sony A6400, which I'm trying to sell obviously. If you wanna buy it, go buy it, cause I wanna get an A7S again. So yeah, that's pretty much my camera. So I would have quite a small, fucking hell man, it's raining. Quite a small incentive to use this, but somehow I like this thing quite a lot. So but not with this lens. This lens is like soft, plasticky light. Look at it, it doesn't even like droop, see? It just like stays on the camera body itself. I mean on the camera bottom plate. So it's shit, it's disgusting. It's got a lot of fungi. AF doesn't work. AF will be like such a big fucking plus point because I don't have anything AF. I only have the TechArt Pro adapter, which is AF, and nothing else AF. I have also a Samsung Digimax, which is AF, but that thing's pretty shit, yeah, to be honest. So wait, let's take the lens off. So you might see this thing's now in M, yeah, M mode, which is manual mode. I'm shooting M because also I got some M42 adapter to Sony A, which cost me not very much. So then I can use these Helios lenses and also the mirror lens I have. The adapter costs not very much, which is good, yeah. But thing is with this thing, you cannot shoot aperture priority or P mode in this thing. If you're using a manual lens, you're usually shooting a priority, yeah, because you control the aperture manually, and the camera will set ISO and shutter speed for you. But the thing with this is that it does not want to shoot in PAS or any other mode essentially other than M with a manual lens. There's some adapters with a chip, but the chip adapter thingy is quite expensive, and I do not want to share any money for that. So in the end, I've been using this manually, like fully manual. But also the exposures made by this thing are not very accurate, to be honest. Yeah? So they're always like underexposed as fuck for some reason, and I do not like that. So when I'm using this, at A, or like, yeah, I usually use this thing at A, yeah. So open wide and yeah, light be there. So, but then every single shot would be like underexposed. The light meter is working, but somehow this thing doesn't want to communicate properly with this thing. But with this and the manual lenses, the light meter actually gives a good reading, and I actually follow the reading, and I get well exposed shots. So yeah, that's good. And it also has IBIS, which is steady shot. It's pretty shit to be honest, yeah, because I always have like jittery images and stuff like that. I'm not sure if it's the camera itself, like fucking it up, or like me being accustomed to higher shutter speeds and higher ISO, but honestly, you're not supposed to hold a camera at like 1 or 2 seconds. That's not gonna work with a 50mm lens. It might work with a like 24mm, but not a 50mm. Especially on APS-C. That'd be like 75mm on full frame, which is crazy shit. Then, what else can I say? Buttons, they feel like shit, to be honest, yeah. They're not like the A6400 buttons, or any next button, to be honest, yeah. Plus, this thing has like zero tactile feedback, so you press it in, and you feel like you press something, and then it just moves. So you have to see the screen to see if you've like registered anything, and not like you can feel a click. On the Leica T, the dials are really like what you call saying tactile. They're light but tactile, and the buttons are also pretty tactile, which is nice. Not like this smudgy membrane rubber shit like the Nikon F600. Then let's see. What else can I talk about this? Buffer, yeah, buffer. Because I've never used a DSLR, and I used to actually use a Nikon FM10, yeah, but then the Nikon FM10 had like this prism thingy, like the circle thingy in the middle, yeah, with like a small separator in here. So then you can like make the object like become one essentially, and then that'd be your focused image. But then with this you do not have that. So somehow you have to like focus on a focusing screen, which is so fucking dim, man, and like not clear at all. I think that might be partly because of the fungi in the viewfinder, but then I'm also believing on the thing, because this thing is pretty shit, to be honest. Being used to like mirrorless cameras and stuff like that, because this is my first DSLR. So yeah, if you're coming from another DSLR, you might already know this, but I'm coming from mirrorless, and not cheap shit mirrorless, but like real expensive fucking mirrorless. So this is like some new learning curve for me. So let's see. Nothing else really to say, to talk about, yeah. So manual lenses use M, and yeah, pretty much take it as a film camera. You can actually cover the back LCD and just let it be, because in the night the LCD is pretty bright, yeah. The minimum brightness is pretty bright, so I'd like put some cardboard and stick it on here to like block the light and use it as a film camera essentially. The light meter's inside the viewfinder, and the buffer thingy will say busy if it's busy. So essentially you can use the camera without even seeing the screen. That's how simple this thing is. And I actually like that from this camera. So the procedure of using this thing, yeah, for me at least, is like focus, check the meter. No more like if you go into scene, like for example it's quite dark, then I'd set the ISO to 800, then set the shutter speed to like 150 I think, or 120, then focus, then check the meter. If it's like not here enough or not there enough, just make it in the middle and shoot. That's what my procedure is with this. The grip is not very nice honestly, because it has like this small rip in here which always like grabs onto my hand, and I do not like that at all. But other than that, this is a pretty solid camera honestly. If you want APS-C and on a budget, or on no budget, that's how cheap this thing is, yeah. Just get this. Helios 44s, if you buy them like in shit condition. I bought this thing quite cheap, but then I CLA'd this thing to be pretty good. This thing had like an off-centered focus ring, a lot of fungi in the optics, and almost no scratches. I bought this thing super cheap, and I'm selling it for quite a lot, because you really do get these like non-scratched Helioses. So yeah, overall this thing cost me less than it cost to buy a Ricoh ZF or a Ricoh 500GX, which is, you probably understand how cheap those things are, yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you like it, and do buy old cameras. They're actually pretty good. This thing has been pretty reliable. Only the fucked up thing about this is the buffer. So on my A6400 or my Leica T, I can like shoot, bam. And if I feel like I didn't get the shot, I can just shoot again. But with this thing, sometimes you don't actually get to do that, man. You're like, bam, and you want to shoot again, and it's like busy. And then you shoot again, and it's like busy. And it's like, fuck it, man. Sometimes that is not a good thing, but most of the time you're gonna use this thing for slow stuff, which is like on a tripod with some old lens and shoot away. So yeah, it's a pretty good camera for that stuff. Not any sports stuff with this thing, yeah. Cause I would rather get like some Olympus EPM1, EPM2, EPL3, EPL4, EPL5. I'm not sure if there's the EPL4 yet, but then EPL5 is there. So then you also can get like the pen EP2, EP1, EP3. Those are really cheap. And Max 5s, those things are better than this obviously. Yeah. And also some, yeah, those things. So yeah, thanks for watching, hopefully you like it, and goodbye. Hopefully you did not find my recent videos shitty, because I've probably just been like CLAing Helioses, reviewing shit cameras and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully, oh yeah, I'm soon gonna get a Jupiter 9 Red Pekin, which I can probably compare with my, what you call this? That thing. I'm actually charging the camera while using it, yeah, so yeah. With that right there, yeah, which is the Nikkor PC, which is like one of 8,000 copies. And yeah, I'm having that thing soon. So yeah, thank you for watching, and goodbye.